We want to spend our remaining moments this Friday with Margie Worrell. She's a life coach who has just released her second book. It's called Find Your Courage. It's good to see you, Margie Worrell. Thanks very much for coming in and being with us today.
It's great to be here.
I want to talk about your new book, and there's a particular aspect of it that I want to get at with you, and we'll open the phone lines too as we go. But I'm concerned, I'm intrigued, and I think other people are too, about the notion of life coach. What do you like when you're working one-on-one with people? What do you really do as a life coach?
Yeah, you know, really helping people achieve their goals, but be more effective in whatever it is they're doing with their life and enjoy their lives more fully. Ultimately, it's about helping people live more rewarding lives.
But I mean, is it a stress on the practical? Are you like job finder for people? Do you help people like get their next job? Are you relationship advice lady? Are you, do you become the shrink? What is your life coach all about?
Well, some coaches do focus in on helping people, change careers, and some people focus in exclusively on relationships. I really kind of come around this whole area of courage. Where are people held back from doing what they really want to do, or whether it's in their relationships or in their work, in their business, in their lives, because they've got fear and they've got self-doubt, and it's keeping them from being as successful as they'd like to be and enjoying their lives as much as they'd like.
How does that courage issue, those fears, and that inability to access courage, how does it manifest kind of in the real world of relationship hunting, job hunting, things of that nature?
Well, I mean, people procrastinate. They don't, they keep saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, but then they don't. In relationships, sometimes people don't speak up about the issues that they're, upset about. Maybe they're frustrated or they're resentful in a relationship at work with their boss, but they don't put it on the table because they don't want to have a confrontation, they're not sure how it will go. So they sit there, it festers, in the end, what doesn't get talked out gets acted out.
What do you mean? No, what do you mean by that?
Acted out. Well, issues that don't get talked out can be acted out in snide remarks and innuendos. In the workplace, it can be people aren't as focused on what they're doing, so productivity can go down, absenteeism can go up. In a marriage, it can be acted out with, the silent treatment, or sometimes in the end,
withholding sex, for example?
Yes, absolutely. It can be acted out in all sorts of ways, withholding privileges, as I say. But really, that the importance of speaking up in our relationships, whether they're professional ones or they're our personal ones, is vital, because at the end of the day, the quality of our relationships is determined by the quality of the conversations we have in them.
Now, sometimes when people don't say what's on their mind with somebody they're dating, married to, boss, whatever that important relationship is, where some of the energy is, it's actually a good... It's not for nothing that they're holding back. They know the person is going to react poorly. They know the chances of a successful conversation are relatively low. So it's not always a mistake to hold back.
Well, of course...
You can't argue that every conversation that you want to have is destined for success, because they're not all going to be.
And of course it never serves a relationship to say everything that's on our mind. But if you think about the best quality relationships that you have, whether it's with your wife or your best friends, they're the kind of relationships where you can really share a lot of how you feel, because there's a lot of trust there. So it comes down to trust often. So what are we doing? What can we do to build trust? Because when there is trust, we can say a lot of things. You can say to your best friend, hey, I don't know about your new haircut, that you can't say to someone when there's not that level of trust. So, yeah, I agree with you. But ultimately, if we really want to have good quality relationships with people, we need to be able to express how we feel. And it's not about making the other person wrong or, getting stuck into them or, us having to win an argument. It's just being able to say, you know what, this is how I feel about this issue.
Now, you talk and write about managing your emotions in life's most challenging conversations. How, because, sometimes when topics that we have put off, when we finally get around to the blood pressure, you can just feel your heart race. You almost feel yourself turning red. You worry that it's going to spiral away from you and get crazy between the two people. So how do you manage your emotions in these challenging moments?
And what you're referring to there is anger versus, there's different emotions. There's fear and other things. But when it comes to when we're feeling angry, we never say something that serves the relationship when we're coming from feeling really angry. So when we're feeling angry, we need to just take a break because there's not going to be a positive outcome if you're speaking up when you're angry, because you're going to say something that ends up damaging trust, like I was just saying. So when someone else is angry, likewise, if you respond, defensively, it ends up escalating the whole thing. So I always say, if someone else is furious, get curious. Ask questions, acknowledge how they're feeling, but don't kind of fight back, because that is only going to make the situation worse. Say, hey, obviously we're both feeling upset here right now. Let's just, if you're feeling upset, take the time out. But certainly if someone else is feeling upset, don't you start putting your boxing gloves on, because, it descends in a downward spiral pretty quickly.
Your book is Find Your Courage, Unleash Your Full Potential, and Live the Life You Really Want. What are the types of advice? Obviously you can't cover it all in the time we have, but
sure.
In terms of tapping into your courage, having a life that is successful across all 8 cylinders, or if you've got a Hummer, 12 cylinders, what's it all about?
Yeah, I guess the crux of the book was, I wrote this book because I see so many people not living the lives they really want to live. They're held back because of fear or self-doubt. So I guess it's really about, what is it that you really want out of life? Who is it you really want to be in the world? What is it you really want to achieve? And then breaking that down into the goals, the shorter-term goals. But it's creating a vision that makes our life more meaningful, whether it's in our relationships, in our careers, or in our business. So the book's broken into 12 acts of courage. The first one is just to take the courage, to find courage to be responsible for your life. A lot of people love to blame all the things that aren't working on, their boss, the government, their mother, their parents. But it's really about saying, hey, where I am is where I am. I've got to own my life, what's working, what's not working, and what do I need to do to address those areas of my life that aren't the way I'd like them to be.
The 20s, at least, I think my experience, a lot of people's experience, the 20s is the time of life where it just feels like it's taking a long time. Career, finding the right person. You have a lot of the wrong jobs, and you date a lot of the wrong people in your 20s. If my life and my people I know, if it kind of were any guide. Do you, as a life coach, is it typical that the people who you work with on the one-on-one are in those early stages? You're out of the nest, you're beyond college, but you still don't feel like it's going that well yet?
Yeah, and I think we've all got to go through the learning cycle. But coaching can often speed that learning cycle along. So, with people in their 20s, it's really kind of getting clear about what they want. And often in relationships, people can spend a lot of time going out with people that, they're not really that keen on, but it's like, maybe this is as good as it's going to get. So what I say, whether it's in relationships or in career, don't settle. Don't sell yourself short. Don't settle for something that's less than what you really want. Keep your eye on the ball. Michelangelo once said, the greater danger isn't that we have too big a goals and we miss. It's that we have too smaller ones and we hit. So for people in their 20s, you've got the whole life ahead of them. What do they really want? And focus on that. And don't settle.
You're doing a book event tonight. We want to give out the information on that.
Yes.
It's at the Tyson's Corner, Barnes and Noble tonight, 7 to 9, and you'll be signing the book and talking to people. Are you giving a talk?
I'm not giving a talk, but if anyone has any challenges they're facing or problems and they want to come up and get some coaching, that'd be great. Love to do that.
Are relationships and jobs kind of the major issues when you're dealing with people in a kind of quick?
Yeah, I think relationships are a key one, because, the quality of our relationships really, for a large part, determines the quality of our life. So when people's relationships aren't doing too well, that causes a lot of pain. So, but often, careers as well, too. People are feeling stuck, or things aren't going as they'd like, and what do? How do they get powerful? So.
Finding the courage to break out of the gate. That's the name of the book, Find Your Courage, Unleash Your Full Potential, and Live the Life You Really Want. Margie Worrell, thanks very much for your time. Great talking with you.
Pleasure.
Lovely having you in.